and then we'll move on to inductors, RLC circuits, and resonance. First, we will revise this, and then we will talk about what do I mean by the first order and second order circuits. Okay, so first, this that the voltage, that the AC voltage is actually a function of time. So just tell me, what do you mean by this omega?
20%. Wait.
Yeah, what is omega?
Angular velocity.
Angular velocity. No, I am not angular velocity. We talked this about the angular frequency. So your omega is 2 pi f. Your omega is actually equal to 2 pi f. Omega is the angular frequency. Now what is this f? Frequency of the supply voltage or the supply current. AC supply voltage or AC supply current. Now what do I mean by the frequency of a, okay, so you see, if you look at the diagram, if you consider one complete wave, right, if you consider from this point till this point, this is one complete wave, right? So you see this wave once in this time frame. So you have plotted V and T. So if you are considering one, sorry, if you are considering one complete wave, so this has changed direction. This has changed direction once in this. When I'm talking about a frequency, what is the supply frequency? What is the common supply frequency in India? Common
50
supply.
hertz.
When I'm talking about 50 hertz, this means that in 1 second, this wave changes its direction 50 times. The AC supply wave changes its direction 50 times in a single second. So this is what is meant by the frequency, and when you multiply, we get the angular frequency. So your V, that is V at any point, V at any point, that is voltage when you are to time, this will be equal to omega t, V max sine omega t. And what is the V max? This is the highest peak point of the voltage wave. So this is your V max. This is the maximum voltage that it can reach. Now, what do you mean by the RMS voltage? Anybody, can you tell me what do you mean by the RMS voltage?
Root mean square.
That is a full form, root mean square, but how do you calculate it?
Average voltage divided by root 2.
Sir,
VM divided by
RMS
root.
Vm divided by root 2. This is the Vmax divided by root 2 will give you the RMS voltage. The Vmax that you are getting here, if you divide it by root 2, then we get the RMS voltage. Okay. Now this is about the voltage as a function of time. So you can see that when your omega t will be equals to say 2 pi or pi, then the voltage at that point of time is equal to 0. When the time is 0, the voltage is 0. When it is in multiples of pi, then also the voltage is equal to 0. So this is how you calculate the voltage as a function of time. Now when I am considering a purely resistive circuit, say we are considering a purely resistive circuit, right? So when it's a purely resistive circuit, how do you get the value of the current? The value of the current is nothing but V divided by R. So what is V? Your V is V max sine omega t by R. This is your current value, V max sine omega t by R, and V max by R will give you equal to I max sine omega t. Okay. So if you look at the equations of voltage and current, V is equal to V max sin omega t, I is equal to I max sin omega t. So therefore, both the current will have the peaks at the same time. They will follow the same time graph. Yes, the values might be max values will be different, but if you follow the time path, that is the time duration or the time intervals, that will be same. Purely resistive circuit, we say the power factor of the wave is equal to 0. The power factor of the wave is equal to 0 since the voltage and the current are in phase with each other. The voltage and the current are in phase with each other. Right? So this is how you get the values for a purely resistive circuit. So if you just draw the phasor diagram, I showed you the wave diagram. Now I will just show you the phasor diagram. So if you just look at the phasor diagram, okay, say you are considering this as the Vmax. Okay, you are considering this as the Vmax. Okay, the Imax vector will be in sync or in synchronous with the Vmax vector, since you are having no phase difference, that is the power factor is equal to 0. So therefore the Imax and the Vmax phasors will be in phase with each other. Okay, the length of the vectors will vary. If you see closely, see the Imax vector is shorter than the Vmax vector, because Vmax divided by R you are getting Imax vector. So Imax vector is shorter than the Vmax vector. The length of the vector might be different, but the they will be in same phase with each other and they will rotate with the same angular speed. So both these Imax and Vmax vector are rotating through the same angular speed, and you see this is the value of Imax sine omega t and Vmax sine omega t. Under these conditions as well, the values are in sync, that is Vmax sine omega t and Imax sine omega t. These two vectors are in phase with each other. And what is the angle theta? Your theta is equal to omega t. Theta is equal to omega t. Okay. So this is for the resistive circuit. This you already know that for resistive circuit, the current and the voltage phase waveforms or phasors are in sync with each other. So what we are doing, what we use, so for an AC circuit, the value of the voltage and current, if you calculate the value of the voltage and current in an circuit, in an AC circuit, both will average to 0. So that is why we do not use the concept of average value in case of defining any voltage. We use the root mean square. We use the root mean square value. And what is the root mean square value? As I already said you, root mean square value is x RMS is equal to 1 by root 2 x max square. X RMS is 1 by root 2 x max square. Okay. And how do you calculate the power for a purely resistive circuit? Your P is equal to I square R. So that is I max square sine square omega t R. And what is sine square omega t? What is the maximum value of sine square omega t? So that will be equal to 1. That will be equal to 1. And this I max square, if you replace it by I RMS by root 2 square, then we are getting it as I RMS square. P average is I RMS square into R. I RMS square into R. So this is how you calculate the average, that is the power of an purely AC circuit. Right. So next we move on to the capacitors. Next we move on to the capacitors. So when I am talking about the capacitors, just tell me what do you mean by the capacitive reactance? What is capacitive reactance? What is
Resistance offered by
yes, the resistance equivalence of the capacitance. Yes. And how do you calculate it?
Xc is equal to 1 by omega c.
Yes, x is equals to 1 by omega c, that is x equals to 1 by 2
1
pi
by 2 pi
x.
x.
Yes. So that is what do I mean by capacitive reactance. So when you are writing this, in this form, when you are writing the RMS current in the capacitor, so what should be your value? So this is IRMS should be equal to VRMS divided by the capacitive reactance. That is VRMS divided by 1 by omega C. So that is why when we write the value of IRMS, we write it as IRMS equals to omega C into VRMS. IRMS is equal to omega C into VRMS. This was actually VRMS divided by 1 upon omega C. This is how you write for the capacitive reactance, 1 upon omega C. Now, when you are calculating IRMS, this omega C will go up and this will be written as IRMS equal to omega C into VRMS. Okay. So is this clear? So that is why when we are writing the RMS current across the capacitance, we write it as omega C into VRMS based on the capacitive reactance. So this is what it has been written. So that is what you are getting, the value of the capacitive reactance. The value of the capacitive reactance is 1 by omega C, that is equals to, and that is expressed in ohms. So these things you have already studied in your first year. Next, what happens to the waveform? What happens to the waveform in the capacitance? In case of the capacitance, you already know that the voltage phasor will lag the current phasor by an angle of 90 degree. The voltage phasor will lag the current phasor by an angle of 90 degree. So if you draw the circuit, see, if the green wave is representing the voltage and if the red wave is representing the current, okay, so you see the green wave is lagging behind this red wave by this phase difference, and this phase difference is equal to pi by 2. That is, the voltage phasor is lagging the current phasor by an angle of pi by 2. Okay. So when will you have the maximum power? Just look at the wave, right? See, when it is this, that is, say you are having the voltage is equal to 0. When you are having the voltage is equal to 0, then you have a current, but Vmax into Imax, that will return you as 0. So at this point, that is at pi by 4, or at 3 pi by 4, you are getting the power as the maximum. Please look at this wave. I'm just redrawing this. See, again at pi, your I will be 0 because it is lagging behind the voltage. So when at pi, the value of the current will be equal to 0. So your voltage is there, but Vmax into Imax, your power is 0. So if you just look at this portion of the power curve is having its maximum value at 3 pi by 4. That is between pi by 2 and pi. That is, the frequency of the power curve will become double that of the voltage or the current curve. Am I clear? See, let's talk about the current curve. Okay, so the current curve is, say, at this point. So this is one complete wave of the current curve. One complete wave of the current curve is here to here. So you are having, in this time period, you are having only one current wave, one complete wave of current, but you are having two complete waves of the power. So the frequency of the power is double that of the current curve or the voltage curve. Is this clear? Or should I repeat?
Please repeat the double part.
See, when I'm talking about when I'm talking about at this point, look at this point where this pen is present. So at this point, your voltage is 0, but you have a current, but your power is Vmax into Imax. So your power must be equal to 0. Similarly, at this point, you have the current as 0, but you have a voltage. So your power is again equal to 0, but only at the time interval, that is at this time interval, when the voltage and the current curve both are present and they are intersecting with each other. At that point, that is this point, you are having the maximum power. Okay, now you see this is one complete current wave. This is one complete current wave from here till here. This is one complete wave that is having a crest as well as a trough. Okay, so this is one complete current wave. Under the same time interval, if you look at this, you are having, see, this is one wave, this is another wave. So when the current wave frequency is 1, at the same time interval, the power wave frequency is 2. Because see, this is two complete waves. This is one wave and again this is one wave. So when the current wave is completing one cycle, then the power wave has completed 2 cycles. Therefore, if the current frequency is say 50 Hertz, then your power frequency will become twice of that. The power frequency will become twice of that. Is this clear?
Yes.
Just look at
Yes,
the wave.
sir.
Okay. Everybody take it. Priyanshu, this is okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is about the wave. Now look at the phasors. So what happens to the phasors? Your current wave is leading the voltage wave by an angle of 90 degree, right? So if you are drawing Vmax here, Vmax that is equals to Imax into Xc. If you are drawing the Vmax phasor here, so this will be a 90 degree. This will be 90 degree. That is Vmax and Imax will differ by an angle of 90 degree. That is the current is leading by an 90 degree. So when the power factor is equal to 90 degree, then what happens to the total power of the circuit? So if it's a purely resistive circuit, what will be the power? If it's a purely capacitive circuit, what will be the power output? How do you calculate the power output?
Not getting you, sir. Can you repeat?
If it's a purely capacitive circuit, what will be the power output of the circuit? If it's a purely capacitive circuit, what will be the total power output? What is the phase angle between the voltage and the current?
90.
90. So what is the power factor then? It is 90 degree. So if
Yes.
you are writing VI cos theta, that is VI cos of 90. So cos 90 is equal to
0.
So what will be the power output?
P net
The
will
power
be 0.
out, yes. So the power output for a purely capacitive circuit or a purely resistive circuit will be always equal to 0. So we cannot use a pure capacitive circuit or a pure inductive circuit. We have to use a resistance in association with an inductive or a capacitive circuit. The reason is that if it's a purely capacitive or inductive circuit, the value will be equal to 0. Be it lagging 90 degree power factor or be it leading 90 degree power factor, cos plus 90 or cos minus 90, whatever be it, that will be equal to 0. So if it's a purely resistive or if it's a pure if it's a purely inductive or if it's a purely capacitive circuit. But if it's a only capacitive. So when we are, so try to understand the difference between a capacitive circuit and a purely capacitive circuit. So when I am talking about a capacitive circuit, that means it is consisting only of capacitance. Okay, when I am talking about just capacitive circuit, so it is consisting of both a capacitance in association with a resistance. Similarly for the inductive circuit and purely inductive circuit. Purely inductive circuit indicates this will consist only of inductances. Yes, the inductances may have its own combinations. There might be multiple number of inductances in series. There might be multiple number of inductances in parallel. But if it is consisting of only inductances, then the power output will be zero. So for a purely capacitive or a purely inductive circuit, the power output is equal to 0. Okay, am I clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I was talking about a purely capacitive circuit. Now let's move on to an RC circuit. That is, if we are suggesting an RC circuit, we often commonly call it as a capacitive circuit. So if I am talking about a capacitive circuit, don't get confused. I am talking about a circuit which is consisting of capacitance and a resistance, but there will be no inductance. So in an RC circuit, the current across the resistance and the current across the capacitance, they will not be in phase. Why? Because the current across the resistance, that will be in phase with the voltage. The current across the resistance, that will be in phase with the voltage, and the current across the capacitance will lead the voltage by an angle of 90 degree. Okay, so if you just redraw the phasor, just look at this. Okay, so this was your Imax XC, that is, this is your VC phasor, right? This is Imax R, so this is your VR phasor. So this is indicating your VR, that is voltage across the resistance. This is indicating your VC, that is voltage across the capacitance, right? Now what did I see? That the Imax phasor, this is the Imax phasor in green. The Imax phasor was leading the VC phasor by an angle of 90 degree. So this is your 90 degree. This is 90 degree. So Imax was leading the VC by an angle of 90 degree for the capacitance, and for the resistance it was in phase. So your Imax and VR are in phase. So if this is your VR, if this is your VC, then what is your Vmax? This should be your Vmax, which is a resultant of the VR vector and the VC vector. Vmax is the resultant of the VR vector and the VC vector, and we write Vmax as Imax into Z. We write Vmax as Imax into Z. Okay, now you see the Vmax phasor and the Imax phasor, that is the Vmax phasor is lagging the Imax phasor. It is still lagging. It is still lagging the Imax phasor, but now it is lagging by an angle less than 90 degree. So the power factor will now not be equal to cos 90. It will be some angle that will be less than 90 degree. So that is, for an RC circuit, you will get a power output by the formula VI cos theta, because theta here is less than 90 degree. The Vmax phasor is still lagging behind the Imax phasor by an angle of theta, right? But it is not equal to 90 degree. If it was equal to 90 degree, it would have been a purely capacitive circuit. So this is your VR phasor, that is the voltage across the resistance phasor, which is in phase with Imax, and this is your VC phasor, that is the voltage across the capacitance, and this is lagging the Imax phasor by an angle of 90 degree. So when you are calculating Vmax, this is a resultant of VR and VC. So you calculate this, Vmax equals to root over, this is VR, root over VR square by VC square. You know vector addition. So Vmax is equal to root over VR square plus VC square. So what is VR? VR is I max into R and VC is I max into XC. So if you're writing VR square plus VC square, so it is coming out as I max into root over R square plus XC square. So please tell me if anybody is having any doubts. We can go slow or we can just repeat this before we move on to the first.
Can you put the resultant part? Vmax is equal to Imax into Z.
This part.
Yes,
This
sir.
part.
Resultant.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so see. So this is the vector of your voltage across the resistor. VR. This is in phase with the Imax. Correct? What is VR? VR is Imax R. This is in phase with the Imax. This is your VC. That is Imax into XC. That is the voltage across the capacitance. That is Vmax. VC is equals to Imax into XC. Okay. Now you are having this VR vector and VC vector. Now let us say we are adding this by the rule of vector addition. So you can shift this vector to here. This vector here is just in parallel with this vector, and this is also equal to VR. This is vector addition. This is a rectangle. We have made this rectangle. So this is your VR. This is your VC. This is 90 degree. So this is the resultant. This is the resultant Vmax. So your Vmax is perpendicular square plus base square. So that is what is we are doing, VC square plus VR square. VR is Imax into R. VC is Imax into C. Imax is common. So we are getting root over R square plus X square. So that is Vmax, which is equal to Imax into root over R square plus X square. We are doing it by the vector addition method. Consider this triangle. Then you can understand this is VC, this is VR, this is 90 degree because we have just parallelly shifted this VR vector from here to here. So this is a triangle, right angle triangle, VC, VR, and this is your Vmax, which is the hypotenuse. So this is root over VR square plus VC square. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Bimban, is it clear? ঠিক আছে? Hello? Aritrika, this is clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, can you hear me, sir?
The voice is cracking a bit, Bimban. Okay, so this is okay. So now, so you are getting this as Imax equal to R square plus X square. And what is this? What is R square plus X square? This we define as the impedance. This we define as the Biman, the voice was cracking a bit. I wasn't able to clearly hear you. Okay, okay. So first, let us just revise this before we move on to the first and second order circuits. Then that will be easier to understand. Okay. So what we are getting, we are here getting, so this is nothing but equals to Z. This is the impedance Z, and this Z you can write as impedance, and this is equal to root over R square plus XC square. XC again is the capacitive reactance, and that is equal to 1 by omega C. Xc square is equal to 1 by omega C, and that's whole square. So the SI unit of Xc will be equals to ohm. Okay. So this is the entire thing about the RC circuit. So what will be the phase angle between the voltage and the current? So if you are considering this as the phase angle, this is the phase angle. So what does the phase angle define? The phase angle is given by I max R by I max Z. I max R by I max Z. So why we are writing this, right? Why we are writing this? Okay. So again, consider this rectangle. So you can shift this phasor to this part. You can shift this phasor to this part. Okay, this phasor to this part. So if this was your VC, so again, this is your VC. If we are considering the phase angle is this one, if we are considering the phase angle is this one, what should be? So this is 90 degree. So this is your hypotenuse, this is your perpendicular, this is your base. The side opposite to the angle is the perpendicular, adjacent to the angle is base, and the side opposite to 90 degrees is hypotenuse. So what should be your cos phi? Base by hypotenuse. That is I max R by I max Z. So I max is getting cancelled out. So if you write it from the impedance triangle, we write that the power factor cos phi is the ratio between the resistance and the impedance. The resistance between the ratio between the resistance and the impedance. Okay. Even for art, so this is for RC circuits. So for any circuit, for any AC circuit consisting of these circuit elements R, L, and C, the cos phi, that is the power factor, will be equal to the ratio between the resistance and the impedance. Okay. Now let's just rewind back to what we were discussing first. So if it's a purely resistive circuit, so what will be the impedance equal to? The impedance will be equal to R. So for a purely resistive circuit, what is cos phi becoming? R divided by R, that is equal to 1. So for a purely resistive circuit, the power factor is becoming equal to 1. When it's a purely capacitive circuit, then R is equal to 0. So if this is becoming equal to 0, then your cos phi will become equal to 0. That is, phi will be equal to 90 degree. So that is why the phase angle between the voltage and the current in a purely capacitive circuit is 90 degree and the power factor is equal to 0. Is this clear? So that is why the power factor of a purely resistive circuit is 1. The power factor of a purely capacitive circuit is 0. But if you have intermediate power factors, then we can have RC. If you have RC circuits, then we can have a power factor that is between 0 and 1. So the maximum value of power factor ranges between 0 to 1. The maximum value of power factor ranges between 0 to 1. Okay. So just tell me if you have any idea what will happen if the power factor is low. What will happen if the power factor is low? Can you tell me what will happen if the power factor is low? See, if the cos phi value decreases, just listen to this carefully. If the cos and the sine function, the cos function and the sine function are just complementary to each other. So when the cos value increases, the sine value decreases, and when the sine value increases, the cos value decreases. Okay. Not really higher current across the load. So I will just explain it to you. The current and the voltage, right? The sine value and the cos value, this will just vary in opposite to each other. So when your cos value increases, your sine value decreases. Now, when you are having a low power factor, that is when the cos phi is lower. So then what you are having the sine phi must be higher. Cos phi is low. Cos phi is low means cos phi will be near to say about 0.01 or 0.1 or 0.2 like this. So that means your theta is high, angle is high. So when angle is high, therefore sine theta value will also increase. So what do you get in reactive power? What is reactive power? Reactive power is VI sine phi. This you have read in first year. Active power is given by VI cos phi. Reactive power is given by VI sine phi. So higher the VI, higher the reactive power, higher will be the power loss. Higher the reactive power, higher will be the power loss in the transmission line. So that is why we try to keep the power factor as high as possible, because if cos phi increases, VI cos phi will increase, that is active power will increase, and sine phi will decrease, that is the power loss will decrease due to decrease in the circuit current, due to decrease in the circuit power factor, you can say. VI sine phi will decrease. That is the power loss will decrease. Okay, so that is why we try to keep the power factor of anything. You will see, we say when you will see, you will purchase a motor, right? When you purchase a motor, in the motor level, it is stated what is the power factor of the motor, and you will always opt for a high power factor motor, because you will always want to have higher active power. That is, higher active power means higher usable power. So higher the usable power, higher will be the efficiency of the motor. So you would always go for a more efficient machine. So to get a more efficient machine, you have to opt for a machine with a higher power factor. So that is the utility of a higher power factor. Okay. See, this is given by P average, that is IRMS into PRMS into cos phi. This is what I was talking about. So next we move on to the inductors. So what is inductor? This we discussed in the first day lecture, that inductors are circuit elements that stores energy in a magnetic circuit. So as in the case of capacitance, you've got capacitive reactance. Here also you can calculate inductive reactance, but here the inductive reactance will be equal to omega L. For capacitive reactance, you got it as 1 by omega C. But for inductive reactance, this will be equal to omega L. So higher will be the frequency, higher will be the inductance, and lower will be the capacitance. So as you go on increasing the value of the frequency, okay, as you go on increasing the value of the frequency, so the value of the inductive reactance increases and the value of the capacitive reactance decreases. Okay. Okay till now, any questions from anybody? Okay. So what happens in case? What happens in the case of inductors again? What will be the impedance of the circuit? The impedance of the circuit will be equal to root over R square plus XL square. That is root over R square plus omega L square. And what is the SI unit? SI unit is again as ohm. So again, if you just redraw the phasor diagrams, the difference with the capacitive circuit is that the value of the voltage, that is the Vmax here, leads Imax by an angle of 90 degree. The voltage across the inductance, that is Imax XL, will lead the value of the current by an angle of 90 degree. This is just reverse of that of the capacitance. You see, this is your VL, okay, this is your VR, right, and this is your Imax. So the angle between Imax XL and the Imax is 90 degree. That is, the current phasor is lagging the voltage phasor by an angle of 90 degree, and the resistance voltage across the resistance, this is in phase with the Imax phasor, and this is this one. this is Vmax, which is equal to Imax multiplied by Z, that is the resultant voltage phasor, which is Vmax, and again you can calculate this similarly by vector addition method. So your Z is coming out to be root over R square plus XL square, that is root over R square plus omega L square. And if you calculate the power factor, that is R by Z, so this is coming out as the power factor is equal to R by root over R square plus omega L square. Again you see, if it was a purely inductive circuit, this R would have been 0, this would have been 0, then your cos phi would have been equal to 0. But when it's a RL circuit, then the power factor is at an angle less than that of 90 degree. Okay, and if you just plot the currents with respect to the angular frequency, you see for a resistive circuit, the current remains constant. For the resistive circuit, the current remains constant. For the RC circuit, the current increases with increase in the angular frequency, because how do you get that is Imax across capacitance, that is equal to omega C into Vmax. So as your omega will increase, you got it, Imax was equal to omega C into Vmax. So as your omega increased, that is the capacitance decreased, and the Imax across the capacitance or the current across the capacitance will increase. Similarly, for inductance current you get it by omega L into Vmax, Vmax by omega L. The inductance current you get by, that is IL, is equal to V by XL. Okay, IL is equal to V by XL. So the inductive current will decrease with increase in frequency. You are getting this? See, XL is omega L. So as omega will increase, your V by omega L, this will decrease, that is your IL will decrease. So for an RC circuit, you see the current is increasing and finally reaching a steady state. Similarly, for RL circuit, as the frequency is increasing, the current is decreasing and finally reaching a steady state. So the study of this nature of the currents is known as the transient analysis of an AC circuit. That is to study the nature of the current and current waveforms with respect to frequency and time. We term that as the transient analysis of an AC circuit. An AC circuit that can be a RC circuit, that can be a RL circuit, or it can be an RLC circuit. So if it's a RC or an RL circuit, we term that as a first order circuit. RL or RC circuit is a first order circuit and RLC circuit is a second order circuit. Okay, so if it's a purely resistive circuit, we term that as a zero order circuit. So this is, if it's a purely resistive, this is a zero order circuit. This is a zero order circuit. Okay, RL and RC, these two are first order circuits. Why first order circuits? Because we will explain in the following lectures how can you express the RL and RC circuit in terms of first order differential equation. Similarly, when it's an RLC circuit, right? When it's a RLC circuit, that is an second order circuit. So the analysis of this current waveforms, that is when it will get to steady state, till when does it rise, all this is known as the transient analysis of AC circuit. Okay, so this is the basis of the second module, where we are going to discuss about the transient analysis of the AC circuit. Okay, I will just in brief talk about the RLC circuit as well. So if anybody is having any doubt, you first clarify with me, and then we will move on to this RLC circuit. We can just wait, or we can just first cover up first and second order circuits before we move on to RLC circuits as well. So first, just tell me if there is any doubt till here. Anybody? Because it's almost 12:20, so we will start the next class at 1:10 only.
Sir, can you explain the graph part once?
This graph part? This graph
Yes,
part,
sir,
that is
that RCRL.
okay. I will just tell you. See, for the resistance, if it's a purely resistive circuit, the resistance current is not dependent upon your omega, that is angular frequency. The resistance, you write it as R. So if the supply voltage is constant, then the current will also remain constant. The current won't vary with the frequency. So that is why you are getting a straight line for the resistive circuit, right? When it's an inductive circuit, so your IL is V by XL. So what is this? V by omega L. So your V and L are constant. V by omega L, right? This V and this L, these two are constant, but your omega can vary. If your omega is varying, if your omega is increasing, the IL is decreasing. If omega is increasing, IL is decreasing. This is the reason why we find the decreasing current curve for an RL circuit. This is why we find a decreasing current curve for a RL circuit. But for IC, when I'm writing about IC, this is V by XC. And what is XC? V by 1 upon omega C. Right? So your IC will be equal to omega C into V. So this is your IC. So as your W is increasing, your I will also increase. That is why you are getting this increasing nature of the RC circuit. Now after a certain instance, you will see that the current becomes steady. The current is at a steady level. So this portion, that is this portion, this is the steady state current. This portion we term as the steady state current. Okay, this is the steady state current, and the time for which this is rising or the time for which this is falling, we term this as the transient condition. Transient is nothing but which is constantly changing with time. When I am talking about transient, transient means something which is constantly changing with time. So as with time the frequency is changing, and with frequency the current is also changing. So therefore from here you see IL and omega are having an inverse relation. So as your omega is increasing, IL is decreasing, and here you see IC and omega are having a direct relation. So as your omega is increasing, your IC is also increasing. So this is why you are getting an increase, or you are getting a leading that is a increasing circuit of RC and a decreasing circuit of RL. Okay.
Okay, sir, clear.
Any doubts, anybody? Otonu, ঠিক আছে, clear?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you are not having any doubts, so we will just stop here. Just let us take the attendance for this class. We will now stop here, and we will start off in the from 110 from the first order circuits. So this is the basis of the first order circuits. Why I am saying first order circuit, why I am saying second order circuit. If it's a purely resistive circuit, this is zero order circuit. If it's an RL or RC circuit, we suggest that as an resistive circuit. Okay, that is sorry, as an first order circuit. Okay, so today is 6th. So just Akash Dotto,
Present, sir.
Paritrika,
Present, sir.
Otonu,